your move.
Welcome into IATD TV, and today I got a little deck profile for you, just with the ban list being quite recent and there being a lot of talk from a lot of different sources about playing other formats, or at least complaints about the current format. To that I say, you can always play a different style of Yu-Gi-Oh! There's speed duels, we've looked into that previously on the channel, and another format I wanted to take a look at into today was GOAT format. Now, GOAT format is popularised around 2006, around Scapegoat, Metamorphosis and Thousand Eyes Restrict. When I looked into GOAT format and the decks that make GOAT format popular, I liked what I saw, but I wanted to try and be a little bit creative. Now, the deck profile that I'm going to show you today is not necessarily better than GOAT Control, it's not necessarily better than any of the GOAT current metas, but it can out them and it can have some really good matchups and build some pretty impressive boards for a game of GOAT. So without any further introduction, we'll get into the deck profile. So we'll start with the normal summons, and there's a few one-offs here. So we start with a Sangan, just helps us get into other pieces. Goes on the back. Sangan to help us get into other pieces, like I say, does a good job, and like I say, it replaces itself, so that gives us extra plays. Gear Golem, the Moving Fortress. A lot of people say this card is bad, but it has 2200 defense, so it is nice to wall up behind. Slate Warrior can be nice for a bit of attack modulation, and also being a 1900 4-star summonable monster is handy in GOAT format. Magician of Faith, nice spell recursion. Get to use Pot of Greed and Graceful Charity in these decks, so a Magician of Faith can certainly swing a game in your favour if you resolve it on the right card. Spear Dragon, Air Knight Parshath is a very popular option in GOAT format. I like having it just on 4 stars. I know you don't get to draw the card, but just being able to summon that piercing damage for no tribute, I like a little bit better. Next we have a little jar package, so 1 Morphing Jar, 2 Morphing Jar number 2, 1 Cyber Jar, lovely ultimate rare there. Now, the jars are a bit risky. You've got to definitely use them the right way, and sometimes they can cost you more than they help you, but I just love the jar cards, and the point of this deck for me was to find a way to play as many cards from back in the day that I love, and try and find a system that at least somewhat cohesively brings them together. So we've got the nice little jar package there, which, again, like I say, use with caution, but if you can say protect Cyber Jar behind a battle trap, let the Cyber Jar resolve, and then drop a Mirror Force or something along those lines on the special summon monsters after Cyber Jar's resolve, then you're sitting pretty. Big win condition for the deck, 2 copies of Cyberstein. You can search him out off Sangan, and just having 2 copies of him in the deck is more than enough in a 40 card build. We'll get into what we bring out from the extra deck with him a little bit later, but Cyberstein is a very key player. For the tribute summons, now bear in mind that the goal of this deck is not to tribute summon these monsters, it is to special them out with cards from the graveyard that we will see later on in the profile. But without any further ado, slap down a copy of Jinzo. Invader of Darkness, this can out a GOAT Control board, so if you can stick this up turn 1 and he's playing GOAT Control, he's in for a bad time. Copy of Barrel Dragon, it's just nice removal. Guardian Angel Joan, because we like to play it fast and loose with our life points, so if we can summon her back and get some life points back, that might mean we might even be able to go into Cyberstein twice on the right occasions. Black Tyranno, it's a card simply in here because I love it, but it is useful. It can attack directly if everybody is in defense mode on your opponent's side of the field, so you can sneak in for some unexpected damage. Some vanilla monsters, some of my absolute favourite cards that ever be in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game, and I get an excuse to be able to put these in because I can cheat them out. 1 copy of Sengenjin, 1 copy of Serpent Knight Dragon, 1 copy of Trihorn Dragon, 1 copy of Sayaru. These are simply in here as beat sticks to cheat them out of the graveyard without tribute summoning them and swing in for a bunch of damage, and they look fantastic. Am I wrong? As for the trap cards, so we've got Magic Cylinder for some damage reversal, some Mirror Force to clear boards, 2 copies of Magic Jammer because discarding cards from our hand actually helps this strategy, helps us get some of the big guys in the graveyard and can delay some of our opponent's plays. 1 copy of Rope of Life, again it helps get us our cards in the graveyard where we can summon them back from, and gets us a monster on board too. Call of the Haunted, because we need some of those resurrections to get some of these monsters back out from the graveyard. 2 copies of Serial Spell, which are specifically in there to be used in conjunction with this card, Question, as we can ditch our hand first turn and then summon at least 1 monster, and then if we've got Serial Spell we can summon 2 that way, and they don't get to check the graveyard because we've activated Question, chain Serial Spell in response, and the hand gets pitched, the opponent can't check it, and you get 2 summons, and you can get 2 of these, for instance, big boys on the board, for just a couple of spell cards. More removal in the form of Tribute to the Doomed. Again, it's discard for cost, and this deck likes that, so as far as removal's concerned, this is the way I wanted to go in this particular build. 1 copy of Premature Burial. It's a fantastic card, and one that we definitely want to see. 1 copy of Reasoning. We play some big monsters in here, so this is another way to cheat them out. We have our draw cards, Pot of Greed and Graceful Charity. It's a format where these are legal. Enjoy it. Play these cards, because when you open Pot or Graceful Charity and you draw into one of the other ones, it just feels good. It's not like Desires into Desires. It is fantastic, and one of the reasons I like playing this build and this format, really. Snatch Steal, it's legal, we got to use it. We can take our opponents, tribute it off for a Jinzo, and then set them back a turn. We play Fast and Loose with the life point, so a copy of Sebek's Blessing just to help restore our totals has come in clutch a few times in my GOAT matches. Black Pendant, which we saw at the beginning, just a nice way to put a clock on the opponent, give them 500 points of burn damage and make our monsters bigger. And then lastly, a copy of Card Destruction. Again, we want our cards in the graveyard, so if we set a couple of the spells we want to use and then ditch our big monsters and then draw the same number of cards, builds us a nice board, and we've ended up with some pretty significant wins that way. So that about does it for the main deck. For the extra deck, or fusion deck as it was then, 1 copy of Thousand Eyes Restrict, 2 copies of Gaia the Dragon Champion, one with the ultra rare misprint on the name on the right there if you'll notice, 1 copy of The Last Warrior from Another Planet if we have to go first and floodgate our opponent out of summoning, Gatling Dragon for going second and breaking a board, and then Meteor, Black Dragon, and Master of Oz as the 2 biggest monsters you can summon out of the extra deck to do big damage. As most people think Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon was legal for this format, it actually wasn't. It came out sometime after. So these are the strongest extra deck monsters you can summon on sheer attack power alone. So yeah, that about wraps it up for my GOAT format deck. Let me know what other formats you play. Do you like to play speed duels, GOAT format, traditional format? Or yeah, just let me know what your thoughts on it were. This is IATDTV signing off. If you like what you saw, give it a like, a comment, a subscribe, and a share with your friends. Peace out.